Hello and welcome to this week's edition of No Access Required. Behind me I'm playing a video of me, specifically a video that I made about marathon, and that was quite some months ago. And that brings me to today's topic, marathon. Now, I've done a few videos on marathon because it's been one of the few games that I've been able to, in the short life of this channel, to follow from its inception, really, or public reveal, to where it currently is. And the latest news that we have from the stables of marathon are that it cost, brace yourselves, $250 million. Yep. That's larger than the GDP of some small countries, isn't it? But that, in many ways, isn't the real story. The real story is how such a thing could happen. How could this debacle that we currently see as marathon, or at least partial debacle, come into being? Well, I'll tell you how. Toxic cultures. If you're raising your eyebrows now, then that's a good sign. Specifically in this case, toxic cultures at the very top. Yep, I'm going back to another one of my other favourite subjects, CEOs. Grand people, I'm sure. Great at parties. Except for Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick's the kind of CEO that when he smiles at you warmly, his eyes are just looking at you wondering if he can make a profit from you. And CEOs, by and large, share some character traits. We don't need to go into them, but suffice it to say that their pursuit of profit at the expense of their own humanity appears to be chief amongst them. When you put yourself in a bubble at the top of a company, surround yourself with yes people, that's always a recipe for disaster. Because on the one hand, it ensures that your vision, the thing that you've been employed for, gets done. No one will say no to you. Very few people are tapping you on the shoulder going, "Boss, do you think we should really be doing this?" That's not their job. You didn't employ them for that. You employed them to agree with you. And that merciless bubble of acquiescence and fawning seems to have encompassed and totally embraced marathon. I've said it previously, that if you're in a workplace where everybody is effectively hugging each other, slapping each other on the back and telling each other constantly how great you all are, then what room is there for constructive criticism? No, I'm not talking about the kind of criticism that says, "Oh, do you think the belt on that character should be purple? I really think the belt on that character should be purple." No, I'm talking about the kind of criticism where somebody stands up and shouts clearly and with passion, "Everybody just fucking stop and take a deep breath." At which point, everybody should stop and take a deep breath. If the next statement coming out of that person's mouth is what we're doing really the right direction we should be going? And, I don't know, get some people outside signed in on NDAs to look it over, people who are frankly hostile to what you're doing, and getting their opinion. Because if all you're going to do is get a bunch of people in who are yes people, who crave access above anything else, hence the title of my channel, No Access Required, then what hope have you of developing something that is a good universal product? The project will just veer in whatever direction the CEO wants it to veer in. And anybody who puts their heads above the parapets and says, "Excuse me, I'm not sure this is quite right," if you believe recent reports, will get ousted. They will find ways to constructively dismiss them. We've heard accounts of this. We've seen examples of this recently with Pete Hines leaving Bethesda. He said he couldn't stick around and watch the way that the company was being abused. And so the question is, who was doing the abusing? Well, you have to think it was at CEO level. Those people calling the shots. And Todd Howard was probably being thrown so much money that, well, he just wasn't going to rock the boat. And he, no doubt, sincerely thought that those moves would make Bethesda bigger, better, stronger, and faster. But with the release of Starfield, we see that all is not right. And again, you have to ask yourself, was anybody really standing up and saying, "Hold on a second"? And so the old maxim still rings true. With great power comes great responsibility. And we're seeing the fallout of that now. But we as gamers, we are well versed in this scenario. We know that the good in games comes in small packages. It has to overcome incredible odds to succeed, and that is the story. And the bad in games is all pervasive, it's everywhere, and seems entirely unconquerable. And so it is in real life. The bad is everywhere, and it starts at the top. It trickles down in the form of intimidation and oppression, and we, the gamers at the end of the chain, who should frankly be at the top of the chain, are left dealing with the resultant mess that's released by these companies. I find it hard to believe that there are gamers out there who still defend these companies vehemently across message boards and threads everywhere. Sony ponies and Xbox fanboys will literally prostrate themselves at the feet of their green or blue god, hanging their bare asses out to be soundly kicked, all the while saying,
"Yes, sir, please may I have some more?"
And whilst these apologists for bad practice and unforgivable behaviour remain in the sphere, things won't get much better. AAA gaming needs to somehow kill itself to be reborn. But in the free and open market that we find ourselves in, this cannot be achieved. A company with shareholders must fail on its own. It has fiduciary responsibilities, and to dismantle it or kill it for the benefit of gamers and gaming would incur serious penalties. We're here for the long haul. We have to sit here and watch these companies die on their own. Long, painful deaths. But I've said it before, and I will say it again. Out of the ashes, beautiful things will be born. And so sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show. Because in the face of such badness and sadness, all we can do is smile. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share. It really would help the channel. And until next time, bye-bye.